On the morning of April 15th, 1995, Mark Crenshaw, his wife Michelle, and their youngest child, 2-year-old Kobe, were running errands in Loves Park, Illinois, when a moment's decision tragically changed their lives.
See, he made Mom mad. Kobe, it was his nap time. It was like 12:30, 1 o'clock, so he was cranky. He was a pretty bullheaded little boy. He was wanting to get out.
I'll pull up here and I'll let you out, all right?
I was getting frustrated with him. He was driving me nuts. So I undid his car seat so he could move about in his car seat a little bit more comfortably. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, we were sitting there, and I had thought I'd seen my wife come out of the store. Is that Mom? I started driving, and the parking lot was pretty full, so I had to go around a bunch of cars to the far lane. My heart stopped.
Help me! Somebody help me!
He looked at me, and his little blue eyes just rolled in the back of his head.
Dart Schoonmaker was the store manager on duty.
Voice came over the radio, kind of a frantic voice of one of our stockmen, and it sounded like he said a child got hit by a car in the parking lot. So I immediately started running out the front door. I didn't know what was going to happen next.
A registered nurse, Lynn Massey, happened to be driving by.
No one was actually doing anything with him physically. So I looked at him, and he looked awful blue to me.
Everyone back up, please.
His eyes were closed, his blood coming out of his ear. And I didn't see any signs of life.
No CPR?
Back up, please. Back up.
I was very scared.
No pulse. Let's start CPR on 5.
Attention Walmart shoppers, if there's a doctor in the store, would you please come to the service office?
Rick Baker, a former EMT, heard the page.
I thought if I could help, I would. And I could tell when I looked at this young man that he was very scared. You could tell that there was something very desperately wrong.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Got anything?
No pulse.
When I first saw the baby, it just didn't look real at all. To take this little child in my hands and not feel any life whatsoever, it's a feeling I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
I heard Michelle Crenshaw being paged in the store, and I know I had a weird feeling. I remember going, please tell me Michelle Crenshaw works here.
I'm Michelle Crenshaw. Oh, Michelle, there's been an accident. You dropped in the parking lot. Oh, yeah, man.
And I came to Mark, and he grabbed me, and I remember it was like immediately, is he dead?
2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
Back up, please.
We continued CPR, but still no response. There really wasn't any change.
Check his pupils. 1, 2, 3,
Is there anything?
and 4 and 5.
I was in shock. I knew it wasn't good. I told my wife it wasn't too good. And then finally the paramedics showed up.
By the time a Rockford fire ambulance arrived on the scene, including paramedic Chris Scott, it had been almost 10 minutes.
The patient's still unconscious, no pulse. And when I actually looked down and saw the 2-year-old boy laying there, that's when your heart stops and you move faster.
Okay, you got the head pulled over? All right.
I never lost traction on the baby's head and spine. There's no way I was going to stop. I was going to do everything I could for this little baby.
Everything was being done that could be done at that particular time. But it didn't look good, and I wasn't... it just hits you that, here's another 2-year-old that possibly isn't going to make it.
As they pulled away, I thought I'd probably be going to his funeral. I cried a lot afterwards. I've never held a dead baby before.
We were about a minute into driving to the hospital, and we put him on the heart monitor, and lo and behold, I mean, there was a heart rate there.
At Rockford Memorial Hospital, 2-year-old Kobe Crenshaw was examined by emergency physician Spiro Analytis and Dr. Jane Kotecki.
The call came in as a trauma arrest. In all practical purposes, he's as good as dead.
Okay, guys, the count 3. 1, 2, 3.
He had a heart rhythm at the time.
He was not making any respiratory effort on his own. He did have a pulse, however, it was very slow.
Give him the atropine. Let's go, guys. This is part of his brain scan. He's got air in the brain.
The impact that he took to his head was hard enough to cause him to have a broken skull. That's what made him right away to be comatose.
When they took us to a waiting area, we sat there for hours. We just sat in that room and cried. We had no idea what was going on.
This is Mrs. Crenshaw?
Hi.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kotecki.
In addition to the skull fracture, Kobe had suffered collapsed lungs, broken ribs, and ruptured spleen and kidneys.
It was very hard for all of us to go out there and say to the mom or to the dad, all of a sudden, boom, you're about to lose a child.
I told her that it would pretty much be a waiting game over the next 24 to 72 hours to see if he would wake up, if he would wake up at all.
He was semi-comatose when he got to the hospital.
They said that we might want to consider the organ donating. That scared me to death. I think that was the scariest part.
We got up to the PICU, and you can only have 2 people at a time. But they just said you could have as many people as you want in there because they didn't really expect him to make it.
After 72 hours, Kobe was still alive, but he had no mobility in his arms and legs, and he remained comatose.
They wanted me to talk to Kobe and hold his hand, let him know that I was there. So I just stayed there with him constantly. I knew Kobe would be fine, that they were just all crazy. This was crazy. There was just no way that God would do this to me. It was a couple months before, the first time he actually moved his right arm just a little like over. He's definitely a fighter. He definitely fought this all the way.
On July 20th, 1995, 3 months after he entered the hospital, Kobe was finally well enough to go home. Although he is still undergoing therapy, doctors expect him to make a complete recovery. It's been 5.5 months since the incident.
I thank God for Dart and Rick and the nurses. If they weren't there at the scene that day, Kobe would not be with us today.
How you doing? Oh, great to make it. That's great.
They gave him breath. The doctors really feel that that was really crucial to him. And I can't thank him enough.
How are you? Huh?
This boy's got a lot of heart. Everybody in the world could have put a breath in that little baby's lungs. But I don't think if it wasn't for Kobe, what he had inside, and the love that he has in his family is the only way that he got through it. It's the only way. I'm just glad that I had a part in this little boy's life.
I was surprised that he made such a rapid recovery as he did, and it does make me feel good. I think he was very lucky.
Can I have some?
To me, Kobe would be totally okay when he can jump up out of that crib and go. My normal Kobe is running around. That's the big thing. I mean, he's normal per se. He's still got the same personality and the honoriness, but he's not my normal Kobe yet.
I would say just let your kids have their tantrum in their car seat. You just have to put up with it, I guess. Just don't undo their car seat. That's where I made my mistake. Don't drive with the car seat unbuckled, and just be careful.
Can I have a kiss?
Next.
I observed what I thought was a child in the snow. And it was just as if he was trying to draw attention. I do believe that was his last effort.